The news of the Lakers' loss in recent days has been a major blow to the game. The match against the Battle of Retton on April 3. Two of the team's core players, Kai and Lee Fox, were ill at the same time. Strange things with leg muscles stretching too. The government has also announced that the number of new jobs will be reduced by 4 to 6 trillion euros. The second-tier damage to the left-handed Lee Fox shoe will also be missing from 4 to 6 megawatts. The Lakers are preparing for a power shock in the heart of the crucial moment. The two most important core are damaged simultaneously. The team's prospects for the next few minutes after the strike became unattractive. The two said nothing strange, and the Lakers of Lee Fox were destined to escape only one round of fate. The latest news is unilateral. Kai has been to Lake State for targeted treatment. The first is to get back to the country as soon as possible. The government has also been forced to abandon full-scale warfare. The first nuclear war in the world was a 30+9+15 strike. The game is a great way to get the fans to see that he still has the ability to take over the game. So, what hope is there for the Lakers in this season? The first is that the nuclear power plant is not going to be able to handle the wheels. The truth is, Lee Fox's hand was injured, the result of natural disasters and human trafficking. The man was injured in the third episode of the classroom match. He was suffering from a broken leg and was unable to walk. The first half of the game, however, was a bit of a stretch, and he was already showing symptoms of leg discomfort. The deputy director was given a medical evaluation of one of his couples while he was at rest. The report also states that the government has not yet approved the check. Riddick only agreed to continue his fight in the second half. I'm not sure if this is the best medical assessment I've ever had. The country is a major contributor to the global economic crisis. If something strange happens to a country that is a team, then it is a country that is a team. The man who injured Lee Fox's hand, Dick, was uncommonly held responsible. The first episode of the competition, Lee Fox has been the first left-hander to win the title several times. Basketball moves are usually not tied to a game. When a player has agreed to a no multiple times in his first game, the only way to do this is to get a job. This is where his part was injured. This is something that fans of the show have probably seen for a long time. But Riddick's response to the unknown continued to keep Lee Fox on the scene. The security forces are also trying to protect the people of the country from the attacks. The game is a high-intensity game forcing an injured player to play. The wounds that are not meant to be accelerated are worsening. The first is that the government is not going to take any action. The report also highlights the importance of the new law in the country. The scan was wrong. The man was found to be in critical condition and was not injured. One of the most serious is that it was not discovered, it was not found. The team and himself were not aware of Lee Fox's injuries. The first is that the students are not allowed to attend the class. So I went to Las Vegas to check his willingness to go. The other side scanned the wrong part of the page. This is obviously a mistake. But as a coach, when I see players on the field, the first wave of violence has been reported in the country. The reporting of the outbreak can no longer be viewed as a viable one in any case. The final result is, the report also highlights the importance of the newly created somewhere over the world and the newly created Liffords. The two-dimensional landscape in the countryside after the forced war. But things have happened. The biggest challenge for WHO right now is to get rid of the sandwich of the country. What to do with the memory paddle? They have been facing this for 2.5 years. Beijing is outnumbered. The West District fell to 4th. The first is that the Japanese have been able to get the most out of the war. It's almost impossible to get up again in the morning. The Chinese government has also been trying to get rid of the Chinese government. The rocket is 89 rocket. The first is the new rocket, which is now in use. The Chinese government has been trying to get rid of the Taliban. The gap between the two countries is huge. The unknown call could be made at any time. I mean, the Chinese government has also been trying to get rid of the Chinese government's military and military forces. There is no such thing as a life without Lee Fox. There are no advantages yet. Hook won the rocket with several layers of hope. The objective estimate is only 3 levels. What is known about this? The hook in the bus. The first is the thing period. The attackers were killed by the Taliban and the Taliban. They both failed to reach the summit. The Houthis lost their supporting weapons. The Houthis' defense at the rear of the seaplane. The situation has improved, but it's only reached the level of capture of the backhead. I don't think that's the case with the people. The first is the firefighting. This is why we are here. Even before the rocket, it's probably in the top 6 in the West. The game is a bit of a struggle. But now the rocket has been replaced unintentionally. Become one of the top 6 in the West District, the most commonly used test words. But there are 3 levels of voting. This is because of the idiots. The first is that the country is not a democracy. According to the latest news, the East End has already arrived in Spain. The first is the treatment of the patient. The drug is believed to be a drug that is used against injection. But specifically injections of drugs. The first is that the patient is not yet fully recovered. But one thing is certain. The weather is so hot. First time after treatment. I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to get the idea for Ben Sayer. He is a very professional athlete after all. The atmosphere of the Wuhan Bansi airplane. It's also very good. This is the team. It's worth the effort. So what should we consider now? The first is the recovery. The trade in the East. The second leg was torn. The business is usually recovering. We need 4 to 6. The first is that the patient is not a patient. The report also highlights the importance of the new rules. The Chinese government has not yet approved the treatment in the US. I'm not going to be able to go back to Bangalore. The goal is to accept some of the treatments that the US does not allow. The first time I saw the ball, I was in a coma. In simple terms, the US is a conservative treatment. It's all over the place. But it takes longer. The European approach is more open. Visitors will see the treatment cycle. The number of people who have been infected by the virus is about 4 to 6 in the United States. The number of people who are in the country is about to decrease. The NBA players. The first is that the treatment is not a good idea. The first is that Paul was a former going to Germany for treatment. The first is that the country is in a state of emergency. This is why we are here. The time of the floating period. The first is that the baby is born in a very small area. It's a short one. This is surprising. They are possible. The next day, the train was stopped. The return of the dead. What is the date of the event? The team was a huge success. He was a member of the National Air Force. The car was sold out of the garage. The first is that the world is not a reality. But since he and his team, the first step was to sell the company. We have every reason to believe the time of the things will be remembered. Leaders and rockets. The details of the race are in love with the golden wheel. The same goes for Dr. Seabrook. He also said that the government had not given up on the hijacking. The children who were actually Houthi will be. The dress is probably going to be bigger if you lock it in the back. The report also shows that the number of people who are suffering from diabetes is increasing. The new power of the dress is provided by the dressmaker. The first is that the government is not going to be able to keep up with the pace of the crisis. The East is bound to face a lot of encroachment. This time around, if there is no second fire point, the first is that the world is in a state of emergency. Of course, this is not a problem. This is all about building on the East period. And the dress. The first time I saw a man who was in the car, I was in the car. The weather is still very bad and the wind is still very strong. Conservative estimates of 30% of the world's population. The first is the wolfless. The 2 main wounded. The first wave of the movement was the right to be alive. The first is the band of the sea. He has made a major transformation. No longer working as a police officer. The fire started in the city of San Francisco. So many fans. The first time I saw him was in the back of my head. Competitive ability in the rainy season. But it turned out, the United Nations is the only country in the world that has a peaceful resolution. The door is 20 years old and so on. When the nuclear gangs were not happy, the first is that the system is automatically unlocked by the bottom of the tank. The first is the fighting the world. The contest against the battle monk. He cut 30 points. The blue version is 15 cm. The first time I saw a video of the video was in the background. But this is enough to prove that the game of wolves is still playing. He is a former football player and a former football player. The first is the band of the sea, the lasting core of the law. He has been arrested 8 times in a row. The end of the internet is over. The first is that the students are not allowed to participate in the program. In fact, he has a short-term average of a few hits left in the last edition. The number of people who have been killed in the past year has increased significantly. The flagship base is the first is the greatest day of the year. Help children get fat blue. Look at the ball again. The game is free to play. Start immediately. The first step is to get rid of the flag. The explosive force is still strong. The first is the blue collar color. The next round is just. The only one who is wrong is the one who is wrong. The same people are happy and happy. The launch of the project was simultaneously with Fur Edge. Young people aged 20. The 41-year-old has never run away. The last time I saw the video was in January. The first is the blue. Section 3. The difference is almost wiped out. The ball is not a perfect ball. The first 2 games were against Canada. Fans of the game are familiar with the game. He is a man who knows how to fight the situation. Canadians have been playing the ball, running into the air. The first level of blue is not a wolf. The first is the Goldilocks and the second is the Goldilocks. The number of people who are in the country is still around 30. The game is still in the right-hand corner. What is the meaning of this? Dai and Lai Lai Hang are in winter. The first time I saw the video was in the video. The game is a free-to-play game, and the game is free to play. The opportunity to prove myself. News Canada, the contest. See also, 15 minutes, 16th blue board 11th main attack. The first 3 UN in the world were harvested. Single player and main offense. All of this is a new leap forward in my life. The game is a game of cat and mouse, and the game is a game of cat and mouse. The first time I saw the video was in the video. The resolution is 10 days and 2. He has never accepted a role like this in the past. The first time the country has won the World Cup, it's the first time that the country has won the World Cup. The first time I saw him, I was in a very bad mood. Kennard is able to connect a car with a gun. This is a great news for the sudden. He is 3 points close enough. The contest is not a party-specific contest. Developing more than 5 third-party developers. This is a great way to get started. The newly formed group of people is the largest in the world. The first is to get a good meal and not to lose weight. The lasting part of the Conad party is almost the Buddhist attack system. The first is that the government is not going to be able to take action. The game is a great game for players. The whole thing is in excellent condition. The group is a small group of people. The rocket is too difficult to defeat. The report also highlights the importance of the new rules. The limits of the band solo and duet. The 2 are probably in the home game. And finally 2 to 4 out. The first time I saw a man who was a man, I was a man who was a man. The reality is that the country is missing the flag and the return of Lee Kuan Yew and the world. The first wave of the protests was held in the city of Chongqing, which is now part of the city of Chongqing. The last time I was here was to blame the fans for the sudden attention they gave you. The following is a list of the countries of the world. Seller before the European Championship. The same goes for the leg injury. The first time he was in the hospital, he was in a coma. The first is to keep the strategy in check. The team was not able to get a chance to win the game. The hotel is located in the heart of the city. If the flag can repeat this story, it's obviously a bomb. So what do you think? What about the outlook for the next few games? I'm glad you are here. The first time I saw a woman in Spain, I was in a coma. Subscribe to subscribe.